Hi everyone, it's Becky here.
So first of all, let me show you some of the pages of my current sketchbook. It's almost filled up. So I love sketching every day, from real life observations. These days I like to draw with the Sailor's brand bent nib fountain pen, and then painting watercolors on top of my drawings. I draw pretty much every single day from real life observations and not from photos. So I draw and paint everything on location without using reference photos. And as you can see, I love sketching my kitty Dudu. So Dudu is 7 months old right now as of October 2023. And I love doing cafe sketches as well as landscapes, my neighborhood park, and also traveling a little bit, 20 or 25 minutes drive. Also taking the public transit to a little far away places. And another to-do sketch along with the views observed from my windows. More everyday snippet sketches. I love sketching food and drinks and the views observed from my home windows. Another sleeping Dudu, very happy. Dudu in his dreamland. All right, and another dreamland Dudu over here. And here is the real Dudu, self-cleaning. He's always, begging to go out. He's both an indoor and an outdoor cat. Oh, look at those begging eyes. And our backyard is pretty big for Dudu to roam around, explore the world. He's like a little tiger or a lion exploring our backyard jungle. He's very familiar with all of these, our neighbors' backyards as well. He's always very alert when he's out here, playing hide and seek with me and going away again. So Dudu spends an average 5 to 8 hours out there, especially like today when it's really sunny and beautiful, and when he's ready to go in for his meal, he just like sits outside the door and waits for us to open the door to let him in. So in the afternoon, he usually sleeps for about 4 to 5 hours in the sunshine, and then around 7 p.m. he goes out again. All right, so it's time to do our sketch of this video. So today I'm sketching these 3 fancy corns that I got from a student. All right, so now let's get started drawing these 3 fancy corns. So I'm going to start to visualize the size and placement on a blank sheet of sketchbook page first without really using a pencil first. So now I'm drawing the first corn that's in the very front first without being obstructed by the other ones, starting with the contour outline of the back, extending it to the front. Yeah, so the front of the corn's body is more pointy and skinnier compared to the back. I just drew those silk strands. And then now adding the texture using loose and organic parallel lines for the husk. Adding a bit of accentuation for the little fold over there. Now is the challenging part. I'm starting to draw these kernels pretty close to the edge of the husk. And this is very much an organic pattern that most of these kernels, they look very much the same. The pattern of making these corn kernels look pretty realistic is that every single kernel is actually in between the 2 in the row that's below it. So in other words, the kernels wrapping around the circular shape of the corn cob, they're not aligning on the same curve. All right, so it's actually in between. Yeah, so that's the basic idea of the corn kernel pattern on a corn cob. Accentuate the edge a little bit there, as well at the bottom, just to give the corn cob a bit more weight. Adding a couple more strands of silk and minor details. So that's it for the first corn here in the foreground. Now I'm starting to draw the second one. The bottom is obstructed by the one in the front. Again, this end on the right hand side is more narrower and pointy. Now I'm drawing these beautiful thick strands of the husk. So I'm drawing these, the most obvious ones in the outer circle. Okay, so these ones not really being obstructed by the other ones. So get these done first. Yeah, so looking like a peacock's tail a little bit, and then adding the tips of the strands hiding in between. And at the same time using loose, smooth curves for the husk texture. Using gentle hand pressure, so these lines are very thin, not competing with the outlines. Yeah, accentuate in between some of the husk strands, so they pop up even better and to create a little bit of shadow for each other. So I'm going to do the kernels for this one a little later. Yeah. Now I want to draw the third corn cob. So those two kernels there, and these ones here on the end, they are pretty dominant, very large and chunky ones, and the empty cob on the tip. Now I'm drawing some more of these dancing strands of husk for this one over here, just like peacock's tail. And then same idea, using loose and broken long segments of lines for the texture of the husk. Yeah, just a few for this one. Most of it on the bottom area is obstructed by the other one, and it's just the tip of the husk over there. Okay. When you're drawing overlapping objects, actually it saves you a lot of time when you're drawing those ones in the back. Now I'm drawing these two curves that kind of roughed up these kernels for the first two rows on the bottom part. And then just summarize these kernels and just filling in these outlined rows with these little circular shapes of the kernels. Again, I'm summarizing and cheating a little bit. The number of kernels that I drew is probably not the same as the ones on the actual corn. And it's okay, you don't have to stare and copy every single kernel. It's too much work. Yeah, and same for this row over here. All of these kernels, they look very much the same. Yeah, and keep going. So for this one, I actually outlined these 5 or 6 rows first, and then fill in the kernels inside each row, one by one. So the kernels on this mid row, they could be looking the biggest because actually it's the closest to you. And this row over here is shifting away from you because the surface of a cylinder is spherical. And this back row over here, the kernels are looking smaller and tiny there on the very back because that side, that row is shifting away from us, the viewers. Now I'm adding these kernels. So this corn cob has much bigger kernels, very chunky ones. Adding these ones, and they're very dry, not very juicy kernels. And these kernels here on this end, they look almost like full circles or bubbles. Yeah, keep adding these ones. So these ones in the middle, they are pretty big still, but they look much more similar. Yeah, and some more here in the back, they look smaller because the surface of the cylinder is shifting away from us. Bit of final accentuations here and there. And just giving this page a title, which is the day and the date, and a little note of where these corns came from. Now it's time to have fun with watercolors. I can't wait to put on these different shades of pink and purples and blues. Just wetting the kernel area with clear water, as well as the husk. Just so watercolors can spread out very easily on this dry cold press paper. Starting with the mild values of yellow. So this is a mix of lemon yellow and a little bit of yellow ochre and a tiny bit of lime green. So these are the colors that I sense on the husk. And it's a pretty diluted version as well. Now putting on these diluted yellow ochre mixed with lemon yellow for many of these kernels, and the other ones are going to be pink and purplish. Yeah, I'm just going to get these yellow ones done first because yellow is a color that could be easily contaminated. It's just much easier if you start with your yellows first in your watercolor painting. wet onto wet, bit of hooker's green for a little bit of contrast on the husk. Now I'm ready to have fun punching on these pink purples. So these are pretty much diluted royal purple with a little bit of magenta mixed in. Yeah, for the first layer, I wanted to keep it really translucent. Playing with water control as well, because these kernels, they have different shades or values of pink purple. So just punching these values of pink purples on with my quick impressions. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as those actual corns. Yeah, just relax and paint by your impression of what you see rather than copying. And same for this corn over here. I think more than half of these two corns here in the bag, they contain a lot of these pink purple kernels. Alright, so a lot of people, they tend to stop the painting stage right now. So we do need to push ourselves to move a couple more steps forward to add more contrast. Right now I'm adding a more concentrated pink purple. It's very much the same color, the mix of magenta and royal purple, but containing less water compared to the previous layer. And I'm also trying to be a little bit more precise, leaving a tiny spot of each single kernel as a highlight. Because each of these kernels, they are like little flattened spheres with a tiny little highlight spot. Again, these kernels, they're not very juicy. They're pretty dry kernels, but still, they kind of shine like little gems. And yeah, just adding this second value of pink purple. Again, the key is to add less water into your color mixture. So now I have two distinct values of pink purples, which making these corns look a little bit more interesting. Now the third value, which is more purplish. According to my observation, yeah, some of these kernels, they are more of a purplish value and pretty minimal. For this one in the foreground. Mother Nature is very interesting because we can never find, two corns that look exactly the same. The pattern of yellow, pink, and purple kernels on each of these corns, they're quite different. Yeah, each of them is a unique corn. Yeah, and keep adding more of these purple, which contains a mixture of a tiny bit of cobalt blue into the pink purple mixture that I used before. Yeah, so a bit of final polish for these kernels. Just keep them really simple. Keep the colors really clean without mixing or putting on too many layers. Now I'm painting the first layer of the shadows. It's a reflective color from the husk, which is a glowing yellow-green diluted with a lot of water. Now I'm blending wet onto wet, a blue purplish gray around the bottom of this one over here, and also thin brush strokes for the texture of the husk. Yeah, and same for here, right on the bottom. It's more of a pink purplish shadow. Shadows is kind of like a pretty abstract mirror image of the original colors of the objects. Yeah, a bit more intense blue purple for a higher contrast. And grabbing some yellow ochre, pretty concentrated, to paint the silk of this one over here. Yeah, love the golden silk. And a little bit of burnt sienna or brown for a bit of contrast for the silk. Higher contrast for the husk because they're giving each other little cast shadows, as well as more sharpened texture for the husk. Using pretty thin brush strokes of leftover blue purple. Yeah, and final bit of polish. So that's pretty much it. Here's the look of my finished sketch. So thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. If you like it, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates. I try to update my channel with 2 to 3 new videos every week, and I will see you again very soon next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.